Good morning. Welcome to Tanya Live. Wonderful to see you all. And as we wait for all our students to gather on a cold, blistery Tuesday morning, we'll start off by giving tzedakah, saying Gedel tzedakah shemikareves es ha'geula, put it into the tzedakah box, and then we'll say a chapter Tehillim together. Lama Netzeach. Wait, before we do that, I would like everyone to put down, good morning, everyone could write down different names that we should say Tehillim for. If you have anyone that you would like us to think about, we have Yaakov Moshe Ben Necha for Refuah Shlema, Chanaleah Bas Miriam Rachel for Refuah Shlema. Thank you, Dorit. Yehudas Bas Sarah, Chana Bas Rivka. Anybody who needs to, thank you, Sharon. Anyone who needs to have a bracha for anyone, please put down their name. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Okay. All right. So as you get on, you'll just put down the names of people we should daven for and say Tehillim for. And thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, all of you. Wonderful. Thank you, Marilyn. It's going to be a thank you. Are we going to be a Mazel Tov group, or we're going to learn about Tanya? Okay. Okay. So we're going to say Tehillim together on a high. I'm on a high, so I guess it's a good time to say Tehillim when you have so much appreciation to Hashem and so much thankfulness to God. It's a good time to say Tehillim. Lamanatseach mizmor leDavid yancha denoi biyom tzara. Yesagefcha Hashem Elohei Yaakov. Yishlach Ezracha Mikodesh U'Metzion Yesadeka. Yiskar Kol Mechosecha V'Alascha Yidash Nesela. Yitin Lecha Chavavecha V'Chol Atzascha Yimale. Nirana B'Shuasecha V'Shem Eloheinu Nidgol Yimalei Adonai Kol Mashalasecha. Ata Yadati Ki Yoshi Adonai Mashiach Yaniu Mishmekacho B'Gvuros Yesha Yimino. Ela V'Recha Ve'ela V'Asusan V'Nachnu B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Naskir. Hema karven afalav anachnu kamnu v'nisadad Adonai Hoshia Hamel Chaynenu v'yom karenu. Thank you for all your brachas, for all your good wishes. When we say Mazel Tov, it's not. Thank you, Dorit. It's not just like a congratulations. It is just an appreciation to Hashem for all the blessings He gives us, and acknowledgement that all the good things in our life come from God. And blessings for, as we said, Corinne said, is the mazel, that the couple should have the mazel for eternity, right? They should always find love and joy in each other. And that's what Mazel Tov means. It's very different than congratulations. It's a much deeper and much more spiritual blessing. So thank you all for your beautiful wishes. So I was going to say, thank you, Sancha. So I was going to say, if you could put down how you're feeling today, I could put down in one word: grateful, in awe, appreciative, loving. That's how I'm feeling today. Put down in the chat how you're feeling today. Put it down in the comments so I'll know the frame of mind we're in, because I'm clearly in a different zone. We were at the Ohel yesterday. We went to the Rebbe's Ohel in New York. And the Chabad custom today is that after a couple have dated for a while and they're ready to propose, he's ready to propose, they will go to the Rebbe to inform the Rebbe that they have found their bashert and they want the Rebbe's blessings. And what's beautiful is that the chassan and kala, the bride and the groom, will go in with all their parents. So in my son's case, it was 6 set of parents, and I'll explain to you how that was. Mendy's parents, as my husband and myself. Mushka's parents, Rabbi and Mrs. Vlovsky. Mushka's maternal grandparents were there. Mushka's paternal grandparents were there. Mendy's maternal grandparents were there. And Mendy's paternal grandparents. And I'm getting so emotional now because I'm just thinking of what a blessing that Mendy had 6 sets of parents with him to walk into the Ohel, to ask the Rebbe for a blessing for their marriage, for a long, healthy, beautiful relationship, building a Bayit Ne'eman B'Yisrael, building a home that has the foundations of Judaism. We believe that a home that has strong Jewish values has a stronger chance of having a good, healthy life, because it's not an egotistical marriage. It's a marriage based on similar goals, similar values, awareness of God, bringing God into their home, the Shechina Shvui B'neim, which all of us, by the way, all of us that are watching, this is how we make a good marriage. Watching Mendy and Mushka, and we're going to talk in a few minutes about the different levels of love in Tanya that we're learning today. But before we get to the Tanya, in order to have sustainable love, you need to have a greater force, and that greater force is Hashem. And when husband and wife both have that force, right, the Ish and the Isha, we say the Ish is the man, the Isha is the woman, and those two letters that are extra, the letters that are the same are Aleph and Shin. The letters that are different are a Yud and a Hey, and combined together that spells out God's name. And when we bring God into the relationship, that's when we have stepping out of our egotistical domain, and we can allow the other in. And so by a chassan and kala, instead of them proposing on the top of the Brooklyn Bridge or overlooking the Empire State Building, in my days it was the Twin Towers, that proposal possibly takes place because that's the natural part of a love evolving. But in Chabad homes, we don't announce the engagement until they've gone into the Rebbe's Ohel, because the Rebbe is the tzaddik of our generation. And according to Tanya, which we learned, the tzaddik of the generation is the portal for blessings. So we ask the Rebbe for his blessings, and then all the six grandparents, it's five, six sets of grandparents. So the six sets of grandparents walked out of the Ohel, and a few minutes later, Mendy and Mushka came out, and then all of us were standing there welcoming this couple into this next phase of life, wished by their people who love them most, by their parents and grandparents. And in Mendy's case, he had like 30 of his friends somehow knew about this, and they showed up. And that's how I think it was broadcasted everywhere. And I'll just tell you something so funny. My oldest son was sitting in Manhattanville having a coffee, and as he's sitting there, someone walks in, a girl walks in, she goes, "Oh my God, did you hear that Mushka Vavavsky's engaged?" And someone goes, "To who?" And then my son jumps up and he goes, here's the picture of the groom, of the chassan. And it was just like all over the world instantly, but it wasn't announced until they went into the Rebbe. That bracha is what we wish on our couples, to be able to be connected to Torah. Because love on its own, we were sitting around at the L'chaim last night with my children, and we were saying, well, look how beautiful and in love the couple look. And we all said, to be engaged and to be in love, that's natural. That's not out of the ordinary. That's very, very human, and that's very materialistic, and that's very physical, and it's beautiful, but it's applicable to everyone. The kunz is to have those butterflies in your stomach and the gloss in your eyes 25, 35 years after you're married. And that, we believe, is when we say the word mazel tov. We bring Hashem's blessing into the relationship, because we know that we must have, as John Gottman, famous marriage counselor, world famous marriage counselor, he says, in order to really have a successful marriage, you need to have shared meaning. And shared meaning is that portal of something of other. So it's not just my needs are being met. I'm in love. She brings me coffee. She gives me joy. She gives me compliments. She gives me romance, whatever he gives me. That's not sustainable. You need to have what John Gottman says, Dr. John Gottman, he says in his famous book, you need to have shared meaning. You need to have a shared goal that's outside of you. And that meaning outside of you gives you a higher purpose. And we call that Torah. We call that Torah. That's why we know that couples that, listen, other religions quote this, couples that pray together, stay together. We know that couples who keep Shabbat together, who do volunteer work together, who give tzedakah together, who go out there and help others, who are compassionate, who have a meaning other than themselves, they will have a much, much happier life because it's not just about me and my needs. And when we are self-centered and focus on myself and my needs, that's when it's very hard to stay in love, because no human being can really take care of all your needs. It's not possible. Many famous marriage counselors will tell you, you can't get into a marriage looking for love to complete you. You need to be complete. You need to be happy with yourself. And then when you're a whole person, then you find your soulmate, which really completes you as a whole human being. But looking in a marriage to complete you because I'm lonely, so I'm going to get married so someone can fill me up with being non-lonely, or I need a home, so I'll find someone to marry me who can build me a home or can buy me a home. I need to get married so someone can make me dinner. I need someone to get married so someone can help me with my, the laundry and the garbage and the mowing the lawn. No way. That's not sustainable. That is not sustainable, and that is not in a marriage. So today we're going to talk about in chapter 44. Last week, who remembers what we spoke about last week in chapter 44? Put down in the comments. Mazel tov. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, everybody. So nice to see you. Alan says, March is mindset reset, shifting lens to see the joy of life. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Arlene. Mazel tov. Yes. Dorit says, very grateful, take nothing for granted. Good morning, Francesca, Carmela. Yes, I know. Karine, they are so lucky to have both sets of grandparents. Arlene Woman, you're saying, you wish you could say great, but not happy today. Okay, well, hopefully we'll try to fill you up today. Good morning, Patina. Good morning, Elaine. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Angie and Janet. Good morning, Elaine and Beverly. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Mazel tov. Ava, thank you so much. Okay, good morning, Yona. Good morning. So please put down in the chat, what did we learn about last week? I'll give you a hint. It was 2 levels of something. 2 levels of something. Good morning, Barb. Oh, thank you, Bensi. Thank you, Rabbi Bensi. My dear brother in Chicago. What are the 2 levels that we learned about last week? Anybody remember? We spoke about the 2 levels of awe. We quoted a pasuk that said, "Ein yira, ein chachma." Ein chachma, ein yira. And we thought about, if there's no awe, there's no wisdom, which means mitzvot. If there's no mitzvot, then there's no awe. So which one comes first? The chicken or the egg? This guy who wants to get a job, and he says, walks into this beautiful high-end law firm, and he says, I have my law degree, I'd like to get a job. And the guy says, well, do you have experience? He goes, no, but how am I supposed to get experience if I don't get a job? Well, you can't get a job if you don't have experience. But which one comes first? So this pasuk, im ein yira, ein chachma, is not a play on words. Torah doesn't play around with us. Torah isn't a law firm. Torah is not about jokes. What does it mean if you don't have yira? You don't have chachma. And if you don't have chachma, you don't have yira. So we spoke about last week, 2 levels of yira. There you go, Arlene. Thank you. We said the first level of yira is awe of God, the respect that God created this world. And look at this world. Wow. What an amazing world. And God created this world. It's like standing in front of Queen of England. Can you imagine? And, you think you're this hotshot Canadian or American, and what's the Queen to me? But believe me, when you stand in front of the Queen, even a queen made out of flesh and blood, which is in no way connected to God, our God that we know about, but still, it's a queen. You still have awe. And we spoke about what Yochanan ben Zakkai said, that if people would have awe to God like they have fear of people, how amazing would that be? But that's the lower level we spoke about, right? What was the higher level we spoke about last week? We said the Ava Ila'a, the higher level is when you look at the world and you go, I'm nothing. I am nothing in this world. You know, standing by the Ohel with my son and daughter-in-law, my future daughter-in-law at that point, it was so humbling. It was so humbling. Who am I to deserve such joy, to deserve such a beautiful girl into our family? Baruch Hashem. I think at that moment, it's not like you're looking at the greatness of the world, but you're looking at your own humility. What did I do to deserve such blessing? And that is the awe we're talking about in ein yira ein chachma in ein yira. After you have an awareness of Torah, and after you study Tanya like we've been learning for the last year, you know, you guys, by the way, and give me a thumbs up if you agree with me, you have been immersed in Tanya in the last year. Are you the same person you were last year? Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Give me an emoji if you want. Are you the same person before Tanya or after we learned Tanya together? I'll tell you my answer after I see yours. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of hearts. A lot of thumbs up. I see a little O. I'm not sure, Kareem, what that O means. No, you're a different person. Exactly. We are different people. Tanya is you thinking deeper. There you go. I am different. It's like the example I give when I speak to the high school girls. I do a lot of speaking with the Chabad girls. And I spoke to a group last week in Montreal. And I said to them, you know, you want to change. You want to change as a person. We all want to grow. We all want to be happier. We want to be better. Like Sarah said, we all grow because we want to be better. And sometimes you think to yourself, how can I get better? So we learn. What does learning do? Why did learning change us? How did learning change us? Just went into our mind. How did that change us? So I give the analogy, it's my favorite analogy, of a jar of sour pickles. Right? You could take a cucumber, a hard, cold, cool cucumber. And you throw it into a jar that has garlic and dill and salt and black pepper, and it's sitting in that jar. Take it out a month later. What do you have with that cucumber? You put in a cucumber, you left it there in water. Okay, you threw in some herbs, threw in dill. But what? What happened? Just by the cucumber sitting in this water, but that's infiltrated and impacted by all these delicious herbs and spices, it changes its essence. It becomes a pickle. The cucumber did nothing. It didn't swim. It didn't hop. It didn't open up its pores. You didn't have to dice it. You didn't have to slice it. Nothing. You threw in a cold cucumber into a jar and it came out a pickle. Now, can you take that pickle and stick it back into a jar, even you fill it with sugar? Will a pickle unpickle? That's today's big question. Will a pickle unpickle? I need an answer on that before we go ahead. Will a pickle ever become unpickled if you keep it in a freezer, in water in a freezer, and ice it up for a year? Can you unpickle a pickle? I don't think so. Why? Because once the cucumber changed its identity, it can never become who it was before. That's what learning Tanya has done for me, and I think it's done that for you. When we immerse ourselves in the Alter Rebbe's book of Tanya, when we immerse ourselves in the teachings, we don't even realize it. We don't realize. Because we are immersed in this garlic dill sensation. And slowly but surely we start to think a different way. We look at the world a different way. We appreciate God a different way. We look at our families a different way. We act, talk, think differently. We cannot go back. As Dorit says, growth is only one way. And Linda says, no, it will not revert. Exactly. You will never become a cucumber again. Because that's what Tanya does. And specifically today, I'm sitting in my in-laws' house. You can see the background's a little different than usual. I'm holding this Tanya. It's the same Tanya, but it's the blue one. And this Tanya was given to my father-in-law from the Rebbe's holy hands. I believe it was, it was definitely over 27 years ago. And that's the Tanya I'm using today to study with you. It's all Hebrew. So if you can give a look, it's only Hebrew. So we know about the two levels of awe. Today, we're going to learn about the two levels of love. Okay, we are in chapter 44, and we're getting into the two levels of love. So I'm going to teach you some words in Hebrew. And, right, Arlene, when we are good and get better, we only get better and stay good. I love that. I love that. You know, in Yiddish's expression, Arlene, gut is good, is besser, nicht besser. If good is good, is better not better, right? Do we achieve to stay on one level? We know that as long as we are human, we are going to be moving. And the question is, are we moving up or down, right? You know, sometimes people say, you know, I'm just starting out on my Judaism and I'm so low, I don't know anything. And look at those people, they were raised in such religious homes, they know so much. I say Judaism is not about where you came from. It's where you're going. You could have two people standing on a ladder and they're on the same level. Who's on a higher level? The one that's going up. Because if the one is going down, who's on the higher level? So Judaism, it's about our growth and small baby steps. So today's Tanya, chapter 44, we're just going to touch on it a little bit. We talk about the two loves. There are four loves that Tanya will talk about. Today I'm going to talk about the two loves. The first love is called Ahava Rabbah. And actually the Alter Rebbe talks about this love of being a love that is very, very deep. And usually tzaddikim, the righteous, will reach that level. But let me explain to that level anyway. That level is a very, very deep level. It's a level of deep meditation and awareness of you and God being one and never, ever, ever apart. There's no other than yourself in this equation of love. That's Ahava Rabbah. We'll explain it a little bit more. In a way, I think about watching the bride and groom. They are in this love that is over the moon. There's the love that's they're experiencing now is so deep and so intense that we all look at a bride and groom and say, wow, that's so love. But the real love is the love that comes after that. That's Avas Olam. And that's the love that we all try to attain. And I think that's a love that we can attain. And I'll explain to you what that means. Avas Olam is like the word Ahavat Olam. So it's also explained as eternal love. But Olam, the word Olam means the world. And this is the love that the Alter Rebbe in this chapter wants me and you to attain. How do we do that? So we could do it today. We can experience it today. When we finish Tanya, we'll do a little bit now and then you can experience it afterwards. This will be sort of your homework for the week. How to experience Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam is the awareness of the world. You love things in this world. You love, put down some things that you love. Okay? This will help me. Tell me some things that you love, okay, in your life. Let's talk about the things that we love. I'll start, okay? I love sunset. I love watching sunset. And believe it or not, even in Toronto, when I stand on my second floor, I know my friends like Marilyn, she's on the 20th floor in her condo. She looks outside, she sees the most beautiful sunset, the sun. Okay, family, friends, of course. Let's take that. Let's talk about the physical entities in this world? What are some of the physical things in this world that you love? The sun, fresh snow. Oh, Sarah, you're living in the right country for that. Your child. Okay, music. Beautiful. Playing piano. What else do we love? Nature. Yes, Rosalie, I agree. Yeah, Kareem, we all love nature. Nature, family, nature, sun, children, watching children, the sea. Oh, birds chirping. Oh, you got it, Elaine. Birds chirping, yeah. You love your dog. Grandchildren. Art. Beautiful art. Oh, nice. The ocean. Wow, the sounds, a cool breeze. Needlework. Okay. Why is this love called Ahavat Olam? Because when Karen loves the stars, I'm actually going to talk about that, Karen. When we love things, tall trees. When we love things, we have to take it to the next step and say, well, who created those tall trees? Who created the greenery? Who created my children, my family, my hubby? Who created the birds that chirp? Anytime we experience love, after we internalize that love, the next step should be, who gave me that pleasure? Who created that joy? And that is called Ahavat Olam. Because you know and I know that the creator for all of that is God. So Ahavat Olam in Tanya, he talks about, how do you get to loving Hashem? When you love all the things he created. Oh, thank you, Azalia. When you love all the things that he created, and you think about, well, who created that? Hashem. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. I love you, Hashem. Because without you, there would not be this. This would not be here. And that is why every minute of the day we can experience love. So I'll give you an example. The moment that Mushka and Mendy came out of the ohel, that's my son and his bride, my new daughter-in-law, as soon as they came out of the ohel and I saw their joy and their love, my love in my heart expanded. And I was so emotional and grateful. And before I even had a chance to run over Mendy and give him this huge, long hug, I looked up to Hashem and I said, thank you, Hashem. And I said a pasuk. I said a verse in the Torah. Because I felt like I needed to thank the creator of that. I didn't want to be ungrateful to who gave me that blessing. And the ability, like Princess, the ability to go to the ohel and to be there, and with all the lockdowns in Canada, and I have to come back now and do 2 COVID tests and do quarantine, and the Chaim was wearing this mask. And, you know, you do what you have to do, but just acknowledging God. And so I would love all of you to have one pasuk, whether it's the Shema or whether it's a chapter in Tehillim or something, that when there's something really great news happens to you, stop for a moment, say that blessing, and then go on to enjoy the joy. And I learned this from Yaakov. Yaakov hadn't seen his son for so many years, thinking Yosef was dead. And when they finally reunited in Egypt, it says Yaakov embraced him and said the Shema Yisrael. And you think to yourself, really? You didn't see your son Yosef, you thought he was murdered all these years, and you're saying a pasuk? And I never understood it until I learned Tanya. And I realized that's the greatest way. Yeah, saying Baruch Hashem is good, but if you can say a pasuk also, like just say a phrase, just say any phrase in Torah, acknowledging, but Baruch Hashem is perfect, David, you're absolutely right. In other words, don't just hug or say thank you, just say Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem, this is the blessing. Acknowledging where we got the gift from, that is called Ahavat Olam. So I'll repeat, Shechiyanu, very good, Linda. Excellent. And many people know that bracha, right, Linda? So many people know the bracha Shechiyanu v'Kimanu. What a perfect blessing to say. Shechiyanu v'Kimanu v'Giyanu lazman hazeh. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the opportunity, the blessing to be alive for this moment. How appropriate to say that bracha. So the story is told that Rabbi Taub, one of the great Tanya teachers today, he says he was sitting at a Farbrengen, and there was a person who had just become a Baal Tshuva. He had just become religious. And he was talking about how can he express his love to God. He didn't know. How do you express your love to God? So he says, he learned about Ahavat Olam. Find something materialistic that you love, and then the creator of that materialistic thing will teach you how to love. So he says to the yeshiva boys that are sitting around, he says, I love Mel Brooks. I love Mel Brooks. He's just like the greatest thing ever. Who created Mel Brooks? And that gave him the awareness of how you have to love Hashem. That what you love in this world, that came from Hashem. And that you have to love. So I'm going to sign off here. We're going to check our COVID testing and we're going to head back to Toronto. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Only simchas, only joy, good health, shalom bayis, nachas. I davened for our Tanya students when I went to the Ohel, and I hope the Rebbe blesses you all. Wishing you all a wonderful day. Take care.